I'm a historian of science. Sorry, pardon. Un peu plus haut? All right. So I'm a historian of art and science. I published a book on scientific instruments from the Louvre collection. I also run an art gallery in Paris, and I'm currently working on a book on the art and science of Frank Malina. So this talk is about the first years of the Journal Leonardo, which was founded in 1968 by Frank Malina, and its relationship with the pioneers of digital art. Sorry. Pardon. As some of you might know, Frank Malina was a pioneer of luminokinetic art. He published this book about kinetic art where he wrote some contributions with some other artists working in the same field. He was also a top scientist. He founded the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in 1943, 15 years before NASA. And this laboratory is still today the laboratory which is in charge of the exploration of the solar system. It sends probes to probably every planet of the solar system. So Frank Malina was also the one who made the first American rocket that we can see here in this slide. It was the first, at the difference of the German V2 that was made probably at the same moment, a little bit before. This rocket was a pure scientific rocket and not used as a military weapon. But after World War II, during McCarthyism, America was not willing anymore to really develop the scientific side of rocketry. They wanted to focus on a military program, and his rocket was mainly used as a missile. So Frank Malina decided that he didn't want to work anymore in this field, and he decided to leave to Paris and to accept a position at UNESCO. There, he was able to develop international scientific programs. And we can see him in 1963 in Paris with Yuri Gagarin, who was the first human being who traveled in outer space. And this is precisely what interested him, that men from different nationalities would be able to meet and involved in common scientific programs. And he really realized really fast that this could not really happen at UNESCO, because UNESCO was mainly founded by nations involved in the Cold War. So he decided at this moment to found a non-governmental organization called the International Academy of Astronautics, where he could foster international scientific collaborations in space program. He also, it's supposed to move. I don't know. It's supposed to move. But he also started to be an artist at the same moment in Paris. An art really much influenced by his scientific background. Yes, it is moving. So we can see here these work, Brainwaves, that he made in 1964. It's a luminokinetic painting made with light and motors. So it is scientific in the way it was made, and it's also scientific in his subject. And this work was exhibited in many cities in Europe and in the world, and notably at the seminal exhibition Lumière et Mouvement that was organized at the Museum of Modern Art in Paris, and at the other seminal exhibition, Light Art from Artificial Light, organized at ZKM. But when kinetic art faded, Frank Malina decided to found a new journal, and a journal made by an artist for the other artists, where those artists would be able to publish as scientists do. And in this project, it was really much influenced by Joseph Needham that he has made at UNESCO, and that we can, that we can see in the first row with Frank Malina behind him. So they met at UNESCO, and Needham was the one who gave the yes to UNESCO, who developed the scientific program at UNESCO. And he was working with Frank Malina. He was going to become also a very important historian of science. And he was the one who suggested the name Leonardo to Frank Malina. Frank Malina was also influenced in this project by Georgi Kepes. He was a very important member of the Bauhaus, the American Bauhaus. He was also the one who influenced Frank Malina in his art. He published in 1944 a Language of Vision, which quickly became the most important art education book in the US. He was also the founder of the Center for Advanced Visual Studies in MIT. So he was really the one who encouraged the relationship between artists and scientists. So Leonardo became an ambitious journal, a unique meeting point between artists and scientists. He was a free and private enterprise, and for this precise reason, he was the only one that was able to survive until today. His son, the son of Frank Malina, Roger, is still involved in the journal today. And from the beginning, the board included artists coming from different communities, kinetic artists, computer artists, but also historians, as Needham, psychologists, scientists. It was also an international journal, which was quite exceptional at the time. There were people publishing from different nationalities, and also including many women among the artists who decided to publish. So, of course, the computer artists were very happy to publish in such a journal and to be able to exchange ideas before internet ever existed. Many pioneers published in this journal in the 70s. I would call Charles Maddox, who wrote the first art program in computer art, Herbert Franke, who wrote a general survey in the field, Ruth Leavitt, Vera Molnar, Colette Bangert, Charles Xury, who wrote on facial sketching. We can see here an example of a report about the largest computer art exhibition organized in the US in 1975 in LA, written by Grace Heltline. So all those papers was reunited in a specific book that is actually not exhaustive about all the computer art, articles written by computer artists. And it is now a really fantastic source to understand the interaction between art and science during the 1950s until today. So I brought the book here if you want to have a look at it for those who are interested. And I think I'm finished. I don't know if I was too short. Thank you.
Vous n'avez pas du tout été trop bref, vous avez surtout No, you were not too brief. You left some room for conversation, which is a talent. Are there any questions or reminiscence? We have time for a little discussion. Roger Malina, we will give you a microphone and let the conversation be. Uh,
To do. You just mentioned that your original training as a historian of science, and now, as I joked the first day, you are the leading historian of art, science, and technology. What are the other historians that you know of that documenting the work of this group of people? Historians of art, science. Patrick McRae comes to mind. There can't be any more than 4 historians on this planet that are interested in what these people are doing. The other session is the archive session, so we have the raw materials.
Yes, there are many historians working on the subject right now. Well, I think we all have our specificities. This is for sure that there are many studies about the phenomenon, how it happened precisely in America. And I think you were quoting McRae. He's really focused about what happened in America. And actually, it was really about, I don't know if people know about this book, it was really about what happened at Bell Lab and in Los Angeles. And a good amount of this book is mostly based on the effort to link art and science, but sometimes not so much talking about artists themselves. So he was really talking about how to get money in the labs and not so much about probably artists producing their work. But, well, there are many works that have been done. Recently, there was a very nice exhibition at LACMA with many contributions of historians about computer art. So yes, there are many contributions. And sometimes, yes, they are probably focused on what is happening in some countries more than others. It depends when you have access to archives.
Est-ce qu'il y a une autre question?
Do we have another question or comment or a memory and a proposal, maybe? We see a hand come up.
Who documented quite of the history of more, because the French part of this history and not only the American one. He did a series of symposium. You will find it easily on the web.
It would be interesting to set up a society of art, science, technology historians. Maybe there are 20 on the planet.
A bit more, maybe.
I'm going to ask Joan Truckenbrog to speak up. I think you met my father. Would you like to ask Camille a question? Does anybody know who Joan Truckenbrod is? Look her up. Okay. Maybe you can introduce her.
Yes, I have a question. Camille, thank you for this informative and inspiring.
Say 2 words about who you are and why we should listen to you.
I started early 1970s programming mainframe computers because I was interested in making a gesture that I could imagine, but not confined by the rules of photography or the rules of drawing and painting. I wanted the freedom that I felt, that computer programming really afforded me. So, but I did take Fortran language courses, which I found really quite interesting. And then I started making drawings, but the screen, or working in virtual or digital space was always limiting for me, which I've talked about. So I wanted to inject a materiality because I live in the physical world. For me, I needed to have a physical dimension to the work. And so I started creating textiles. I can briefly tell the process so I would program a series of images like an animation, and I would stop the animation every frame. It would be displayed on a monitor. the monitor was turned upside down on a color copy machine made by 3M, which had a backlight setting, and the color, they were actually on die sheets. And so then I would print each frame on heat transfer material, trim them down, and with the hand iron that sometimes became visible in the image on the textile, I would hand iron each of these, probably with...
Wearing one at the moment?
Very close. Yes, and I was on the faculty at the School of the Art Institute for over 25 years, where I really initiated that department. So I'm wondering if you have favorites, like what dimension of electronic art or computer art do you find the most fascinating? And you can mention or not mention artists, but do you have, with your study of this incredible range of artwork, do you have your favorites?
Favorites, not really.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I think there are many reflections that are interesting. And I think the relationship with the machine is interesting at the beginning when it was posed. And when Colette Bungert said that she wanted to work with with the bug of the machine, I thought that was quite interesting. To work with a machine where you think that everything would be programmed, and but really working with what precisely were not working would be interesting. Yes.